I heard the door lock itself from the inside right before something whispered, "Welcome back." But I was staying there for the first time. The Airbnb that wouldn't let me leave. A first-person horror story. 2,500 plus words. My name is Aaron, and if you ever see an Airbnb listed for the Solitude Suite, perfect for solo travelers, in a small town called Brookfield, don't book it. Don't even click the listing. Don't even save it for later. Because if you do, you'll end up exactly where I did, locked inside a room that shifts when the lights go out, stalked by something that mimics human behavior but isn't human at all. This is the story of the weekend I should have died. I booked the Airbnb because it was cheap, too cheap. £29 a night. Photos glowing with warm lighting. A big wooden bed. Brick walls. Modern lamps. It looked cozy, artsy, Instagrammable. The host, Elara, had dozens of 5-star reviews praising her warm hospitality and clean rooms. I checked in on a Friday afternoon. The building was strange. A little too narrow. A little too tall. Like someone took a normal house and stretched it vertically. A keypad waited on the door. 3347#. The lock clicked. I walked in, dragging my suitcase, already imagining the nap I'd take. But before I even touched the light switch, I froze, because the room felt wrong. Not scary, not haunted, just wrong. Like a smile that's too wide. It smelled faintly of lavender, but underneath it something metallic. The bed was made perfectly, every corner tucked so tight it looked vacuum-sealed. And on the pillow, a handwritten note. "Rest well. You'll need it." In Frest. Elara. I assumed she meant for my long trip. But the way the sentence ended, no smiley face, no warmth, made my skin tighten. Still, I was exhausted. I flopped onto the bed. That's when the first strange thing happened. The lights flickered, and the air thickened, like the walls were inhaling. I felt something cold depress the mattress beside me, as if someone invisible had sat down. I shot up. The dent smoothed itself slowly, like a hand wiping it away. "Probably uneven springs," I muttered. I didn't believe that for a single second. I turned the lamps on. They buzzed sharply. Too bright for a room this small. My phone vibrated. "Elara, Airbnb host. Hope you settled in. Let me know if you hear anything unusual. Some guests get nervous on the first night." The smiley face felt forced, almost sarcastic. I typed back, "Aaron, what do you mean by unusual?" No reply. Instead, the room answered. A soft tapping sound started behind the wall. Tap, tap, stop, tap, 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 tap. Fast. Too fast. Like fingers drumming impatiently. I pressed my ear to the wall. The tapping stopped. Then a voice whispered through the vents. "You came back." I bolted backward so fast I hit the dresser. "What the hell, who's there?" Silence. Then slow footsteps inside the wall moved away. I grabbed my backpack, ready to leave the Airbnb entirely. Sleep in my car, anything. But when I reached the door and pulled the handle, click, locked from the inside. I tried again, and again. Nothing. The lock was stiff, unmoving. My phone buzzed. A new message from Elara. "Please don't try to leave. It upsets the room." I swear to God I felt the walls pulse. It was 11:50 p.m. when the real horror began. I had every lamp on, brightness stabbing my eyes, but I didn't care. Light felt safer. The room was overwhelmingly quiet. Too quiet. Like the silence you hear before a scream. I sat in the corner, facing everything, refusing to blink too long. At exactly midnight, the lights flickered. Once, twice, then they cut out completely. "No, no, hey!" I yelled, slamming my hand on the switch. Nothing. Pitch black. I used my phone flashlight, but the room wasn't the same. My bed wasn't where it used to be. It was now against the opposite wall. The desk was gone. The dresser faced the door like a silent guard. The entire room layout had changed in the dark. And on the wall, written in huge dripping letters I hadn't seen before, "Stop trying to leave." I screamed and stumbled backward, hitting something warm. Someone was standing behind me. I spun around with the phone light. Nothing, but the warmth lingered, as if a body had just moved away. Then, breathing, right next to my ear. Slow, shaky, wet breathing, like lungs filled with water. I pointed the flashlight. Still nothing, but the breathing got louder, angrier, as if something invisible stood inches away watching me. My hands shook violently. I backed into the corner, clutching my phone like a weapon, and then something icy touched my ankle. Not grabbed, not scratched, just touched, like a curious child. I kicked wildly, screaming. The touch vanished, but a voice whispered behind me, "Don't fight. The room chose you." I knocked over a lamp, trying to turn it on again. It sparked, but stayed dead. Everything stayed dead, except for the shadows shifting in the corners. At 2:13 a.m., the lights suddenly came back on. I didn't turn them on. They did, themselves. I was sitting against the wall, shivering, every muscle tense. The door unlocked with a loud click. Footsteps approached from the hallway. Slow, deliberate. Heel, toe, heel, toe. The doorknob rotated. I held my breath so long I felt dizzy. The door creaked open. A woman stood there, tall, thin, wearing a long black coat. Her hair hung straight, covering half her face. "Aaron," she said softly. "Ilara?" I whispered. She nodded, but something was off. Her head tilted slightly, like she wasn't used to the weight of it. "I told you not to try leaving." She stepped inside. Her presence sucked the warmth from the room. You didn't tell me anything," I yelled, backing away. "What's happening? What's wrong with this place?" Ilara smiled, but only half her mouth moved. "The room gets attached," she said. "It doesn't like when its guests leave. That's insane rooms don't get attached. This one does." She stepped closer. Her eyes were pale, gray, too pale, almost colorless. "When somebody dies here," she said, "they don't go. They imprint. The walls absorb them, their fear, their breath, their final thoughts." I felt sick. "Who died here?" I whispered. Ilara's smile widened unnaturally. "You did." The air shattered. Every light bulb burst at once. Darkness swallowed everything, but not empty darkness. This darkness had movement. Figures flickered at the edges of my vision. Half-formed limbs, faces missing features, human shapes trapped behind invisible barriers, like the walls were trying to push them out. I felt something wet drip onto my hand. Blood? No. Tears. Not mine. The darkness rippled and solidified into a scene. I wasn't in the room anymore. I stood in a hallway, long, narrow, endless. Doors lined both sides, each slightly open. Shadowy faces peered from the gaps. A voice echoed through the hall. "This is where the guests stay." A ghostly host appeared beside me, not quite Ilara, not quite human. "You've stayed here before," she whispered. "Everyone has. Every soul passes through places like this. I don't understand." "You died once," she said. "This room tried to keep you, but you escaped. The living world pulled you back. A heartbeat revived too soon. My chest tightened. "So why am I here again?" "Because the room remembers," she whispered. "It waits. It calls back the ones who slipped away." She leaned close, so close I felt her cold breath on my cheek. "You should never have been alive." The hall vanished. I slammed back into the Airbnb room, gasping, my lungs burning like I'd drowned. The room began to collapse inward, not physically but visually. The corners stretched. The ceiling lowered. Walls breathed like giant lungs. Every breath the room took sucked my air away. Something invisible grabbed my wrist. I yanked back. Another cold hand grabbed my shoulder. Another around my ankle. Dozens of unseen hands pulling, dragging, trying to fold me into the walls with them. I screamed until my throat tore. "Let me go." A voice different from before whispered gently, "Stay. Be part of us." "I won't." I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The light hit one corner and something hissed violently. The hands recoiled. The room shook. I swept the beam wildly, chasing invisible forms that shrieked and retreated. "Light hurts you, doesn't it?" I screamed. The room trembled like it was furious. The door suddenly reappeared where the dresser had been. I sprinted toward it. The shadows lunged. I slapped my hand on the keypad. 3, 3, 4, 7. The lock clicked. Something screamed so loud, the room shook. I tore the door open. A violent force slammed into me from behind. Cold, heavy, furious. It tried to drag me back. I clung to the doorframe. "No, no, no." The shadows swirled violently, forming a face twisted, skull-like, wide, screaming mouth. "You belong to us!" I kicked back, screaming. One more push, and I fell into the hallway. The door slammed shut behind me. I scrambled backward, gasping, sobbing. The door keypad flashed red, locked. Then the entire door disappeared. Just wallpaper remained, as if the room had never existed at all. I ran. Down the stairs. Out the front door. Into the freezing morning air. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. I drove straight home, hyperventilating the entire way, expecting shadows to grab me from the back seat. I didn't call the police. Didn't report the listing. Didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? But 3 days later, I checked the Airbnb app. The listing was still there. The Solitude Suite. Perfect for solo travelers. £29 per night. New review posted yesterday. In Meet It as one. Had a great stay. Super quiet. I barely heard anything at night. The reviewer's profile picture was a smiling man. I recognized him, the man whose face I saw screaming inside the wall. I reported the listing. The next day, Airbnb marked the case as resolved. The listing was still up. If you think this sounds like a nightmare, I wish it was. Because last night, while I was trying to sleep, I got a notification. Your host, Alara, sent you a message. My blood froze. The message read, "You left something in the room. Don't worry. It's already making its way back to you." Something knocked on my door. Once, twice, 3 times. I haven't opened it. I don't think I will. Because I can hear breathing on the other side. Wet, shaky, drowning, exactly like the room.